Thank you so much for that introduction, Joan. So as Joan mentioned, I'm going to give you an overview of EcoAtlas, which is an online visualization tool that has many tools for restoration practitioners. And so EcoAtlas is a scientifically produced toolset to visualize the abundance, diversity, and condition of our aquatic resources within a landscape. It's designed to answer questions such as where are our wetlands, how are they doing, what are the projects that are improving or restoring our resources or having an impact on them. And the EcoAtlas toolset has been in developed and has been being enhanced for over 25 years now. So there are numerous partners and funders, and all of those names are listed on the partner page on EcoAtlas. And I did also just want to mention that all of the oversight, the technical oversight, is provided by the California Wetlands Monitoring Work Group to ensure that we are providing science, reliably sound science across the state. So EcoAtlas provides dynamic summary tools that support wetland project planning, monitoring, and tracking throughout the state of California, although we do have more information in our coastal habitat areas. It aggregates different kinds of environmental data from multiple sources in one place, and this allows for comparability across a landscape or region without having to go to all of these different websites or data repositories to get that information for your area of interest. And then there are also adaptable and customizable reporting tools that allow you to summarize these different data sets for your project or your area of interest. And I will show you some examples of these in a little bit. Also, the whole framework of EcoAtlas is based on RAMP, or the Wetland and Riparian Area Monitoring Program. So this is a data management framework that provides methods and tools for monitoring, assessing, and then adaptively managing our aquatic resources within a watershed or a landscape context. And it's based on US EPA's Level 1, 2, 3 framework for monitoring and assessment. And some of the goals for the RAMP framework are to provide public access to environmental data and the visualization, summary, and tools to be able to access the information for your own projects or for your own area of interest. There are standardized monitoring protocols and data management procedures that are in place that really support the sound science for the long term of our projects and for our programs. And then it also supports stream and wetland resource management and restoration, again at this watershed or this larger landscape scale. So now I'm just going to give you a little information on each of the levels. So level 1 are map-based inventories of aquatic resources. So these data sets are able to answer questions such as where are the streams and wetlands, and how many types of wetlands do we have, and what are the acres and miles, as well as where are our habitat projects, and how have they affected adjacent wetlands. So within EcoAtlas, there are two tools: the California Aquatic Resource Inventory, or CARI, which is a map of the best available streams and wetlands across the state. It's compiled from many different sources into a common classification system. And then also Project Tracker, which allows programs from all over the state to enter in their project tracker or their project information in a standardized way. So level 2 are those rapid field-based assessments of overall ecological condition, to answer some of the questions of how healthy are the streams and wetlands in my project area or watershed, or how does my project compare to the ambient condition in the watershed, or are there certain aspects of my project that need improvement. And so within EcoAtlas, we have the California Rapid Assessment Method, or CRAM, and the Riparian Rapid Assessment Method, or RIPRAM, that really allow us to take these field measurements in the field assessments in a rapid way. And then finally, there's level 3, which are these site-specific detailed measurements, and they can either be information collected in the field or in the laboratory to answer questions such as what species are supported or what contaminants or toxicity are present within my project area. And these three levels are really meant to work together. So the level one maps tell us where are the wetland resources within the watershed context, as well as nearby restoration and mitigation projects and potential impact sites. And then also these level one maps allow us to determine where best to conduct level two and level three data collection. So the level one maps provide us that sample frame for the condition assessments that are conducted under level two. And these level two condition assessments quickly provide information on overall ecological condition and really help to inform decisions on the management of a project as well as prioritizing data collection. And level three data are these really detailed information that are usually more costly to collect that can help explain some of the findings in these condition assessments and then also provide the regulatory monitoring results and project success criteria. So EcoAtlas tools can be applied at every stage of the project lifecycle, including planning, implementation, monitoring, and tracking project performance and reporting. And I'm going to show you an example in Southern California at the Otay River Mitigation Project to kind of show you how these tools can be used for these different stages in the life cycle. So this one is looking at improvements of a river for mitigation due to new housing development. So you can begin by viewing existing aquatic resources using that California Aquatic Resource Inventory, as well as the historical aquatic resources to see what has been there in the past. And together you can view these on a map, or you can then also quantify the resources by generating a landscape profile tool that summarizes various different data sets for that particular project area or your area of interest. So this allows you then to look at the abundance and diversity of the resources that exist, as well as the historical aquatic resources. You can even quantify habitat patch connectivity with other habitat types using the connectivity profile tool. And then you can look at nearby projects that are restoration, enhancement, creation, or mitigation that are being conducted or have been completed by other programs. And this allows you to look at lessons learned from some of these projects that were within your watershed, or potentially you could collaborate with projects that are ongoing or in progress. And if we move on to these level two tools, you can then use CRAM to determine the overall ecological condition at your project site. And then you can use the details within the CRAM condition score, such as the buffer and landscape context, or hydrology, or physical and biotic structure scores, to begin to identify maybe improvements at your project site or within that larger landscape scale. You can also begin to plot your project CRAM score on an ecological cumulative distribution function, or CDF, and then this is what will allow you to begin to compare your project condition to the ambient condition within the watershed. And then once the project is completed, you can use CRAM and the habitat development curves to begin to track the project progress towards actually becoming a restored habitat. And so ideally you would want your CRAM scores, which are shown in different colors here, to be on or above this performance curve for the wetland type within your ecological region. And then moving on to level 3. So we can also use EcoAtlas to access these site-specific field measurements. So for example, we could access information on water quality and toxicity data that are being stored in the California Environmental Data Exchange Network, or CEDN repository. And I did want to show you one other example that took place in the San Francisco Estuary by the Wetlands Regional Monitoring Program, where they used a couple of these tools to begin to look at tracking change in tidal wetland extent and progress towards the region's restoration goals. So first, the WRMP took the Baylands habitat map, which is the most recent mapping that is similar to CARI, but it is just specific for the Baylands within the San Francisco estuary. Combine this layer of existing habitats with project tracker information on tidal wetland restoration, so including both in progress as well as completed restoration activities. And by combining these two, then we can then begin to look at this more comprehensive picture of tidal wetland extent and restoration progress. So we can plot this information and begin to see how are we doing towards meeting our 100,000 acre goal. And so what's exciting about this is that in addition to the existing habitats for tidal wetlands that are shown in green here, we can also include evolving tidal marsh. And this information is taken from Project Tracker, which indicates projects that have been restored but have not evolved into vegetated tidal wetland. And that's shown in that blue bar on this graph. So I know I've shown you quite a few tools within EcoAtlas on this level 1, 2, 3 framework. I've also have shown you several ways to summarize the information in addition to looking at the information on an interactive map. And having these different summary tools really allows you to visualize information at these different scales, whether it's at your project level or the watershed or the region or even comparison statewide. And I know we could have training on all of these and did just want to mention that SFEI as well as Kevin O'Connor from the Central Coast Wetlands Group has funding from EPA to develop some trainings and materials really to make using EcoAtlas easier for the practitioner. And all of this information will be displayed on a website for future reference. So I just really wanted to thank you for the opportunity to present on EcoAtlas and for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions if there's time.